Hey, Jake.
Hey.
I used a DMV vending machine the other day, and I didn't even know that existed. I didn't have
Yeah.
to wait in line. It was incredible. It was great. Somebody
Yeah.
stole the year sticker off my car, and I
What?
and I got pulled over. Longer story about that. Maybe we'll get into it later. And so the next day, I looked into I Googled where's the nearest DMV to me to go get a new sticker, and the nearest one was a vending machine in a grocery store.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so instead of $4, it cost me $10. 100% worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
100% worth it. It was like $9.50, $9.75. But here's the best thing about that experience. As I walked into this city grocery store, they had a security guard there, and I realized something that I think I've always intuitively known, but I've never put into words really. There are two different kinds of employees. They're the
Yeah.
employees who don't give a rat's ass about anything. And then they're the employees who are actually excited to be working.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a Hallmark movie and they finally got a job after being down on their luck for a long time, or whatever the reason is. They're just great people. But this guy was one of these great people. He was, we had a 5-second interaction, but he made my day better. He was like, I walked in, he said, "How are you?" And, for no reason, I'm going into a grocery store. He's not a Walmart greeter. He's a security guard.
Yeah.
And I said, "I'm looking for the DMV vend." And before I even finished the sentence, he lit up. And I could tell instantly, not only was he excited to help me, but he knew right away that he knew the answer. And this was going to be a great interaction. And it was only a 2-second interaction. He's like, "It's the yellow machine behind me." And he had a huge smile on his face. Wow, I just did something. And I'm like, man, that's great. I love when people when they just feel good about what they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyways.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. A vending machine and your sticker got stolen off your car.
I'm assuming. I mean, it could have fallen off, right?
No.
But in the last episode, I talked about doing that open mic on Colfax Avenue. So
that's what I have. Oh my goodness. So I've got a crazy story about Colfax.
Okay.
With an open mic on Colfax Avenue. I moved, and this was years and years ago, but I moved inside the city, from Aurora to Aurora, right? Just 10 minutes down the road. And we're moving all day, and it's really kind of frustrating. And whenever you move, your whole life revolves around moving for 2 weeks. Everything is moving, everything is packing, everything is unpacking, everything is everything. And I was sick of it. And so I'm like, on moving day, at the end of moving day, we had been moving all day long, put everything into the new place. I'm like, I'm going to an open mic. I haven't performed in a while. I want to get back on stage. I drive my car to Colfax, get out, go do the open mic. I want to say it was one where they I wasn't guaranteed to get up. And so I got up kind of early. I think it was a gong show or something like that, where they
yeah, that's at Lion's Lair
where they could get you off early or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was able to do basically the whole time. And so I'm feeling good. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to stick around for this whole mic. It's moving day. I need to get back home. My wife's already kind of annoyed with me. I can't find my keys. Like, what? Where are my keys? I always keep them in the same pocket. I'm like, did they fall out on the way, from parking? I parked on the street. I go, and it's like, I don't see anything. I get all the way to the car. The keys are in the car. The car is still running.
Incredible.
First time that's ever happened to me, that I just parked, got out of the car, did an open mic. I was probably out of the car for an hour and a half, come back, car still running.
You're like a time traveler there, ahead of your time. Because nowadays they have those the keyless ignitions.
Yeah.
And people do that all the time. They walk away, the car's quiet, they don't know that it's still on.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, Colfax Avenue is, arguably not the safest part of Denver. So you really dodged a bullet there in two ways.
Exactly. That's right. It's full on nighttime. There's no reason. It was just so silly. But yeah, car didn't get stolen. So
Unbelievable. That's great. So anyways, I got my sticker. I put the sticker back on. So I got pulled over. I was doing 72 and a 45.
that's you're gonna get a ticket.
I got out of it.
No way.
Unbelievable. Shout out to Mike H of Idaho Springs Police Department. It was the night of the movie screening on the eve of Mountain Fresh Comedy Festival. And I really hammed it up about, I just lost a lot of money on this movie screening in Frisco. I'm going to be back in Georgetown, which is right next door to Idaho Springs tomorrow or on Saturday. And the movie, was a mental health screening. Who knows if any of that mattered or worked, but the guy let me off. I did tell him that I did not see that, like, when I was driving, it was 65 and I was going 72, and then I saw the cop on the side of the road, but I'm still going 70. And then right after the cop, there was a 45-mile-an-hour construction sign, and then I slowed down to 50, I think 55 at that point. But then he pulled out, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And then he was like 12 inches from my bumper for a mile, and I'm like, this also is not good. And then finally all the lights come on and I'm like, oh, this stinks. And I was so tired, man. We had just taken down this 14-foot wide movie screen. And, I had gone through the whole screening, which was kind of like an emotional experience. This movie is incredible. Anxiety Club. Everybody, you can get it at Jolt.film. That's Jolt.film. It will ask you to rent it for $10. If you hit the minus sign, you get it down to $5. So, but pay whatever you want. Give them $20. It's an incredible film. It's got Mark Maron, Mark Norman, Joe List, Eva Victor, Baron Vaughn, all these incredible comedians, Aparna Nancherla. It's a great story. And in fact, I just watched it at the end of May, and it's now October. So several months later, I brought my laptop. My whole plan was to get all these 50 people sat. We gave away a lot of the tickets, and we had a Building Hope Summit County was there. They're like the local nonprofit in the mental health space. And so I was going to go work on my laptop during the movie. I'm busy. It's 90 minutes. I can't watch this film twice. Well, the first 2 minutes hooked me, and I ended up watching the whole movie a second time. It was great. It was really cool. And man, was that theater awesome. I mean, you were in the same room a couple nights later, and it was oriented 90 degrees differently. That's where we did it. There were behind the room tables as you looked at the stage on the left. If people want to see pictures, you can see I'm the Mark Masters on Twitter, and mid-October 2025, I have pictures of the movie screen. And we showed a short film by Harris Alterman before. It's like a 5-minute version of dodgeball, basically, but it's about spike ball being played in a park in Denver. Bunch of funny comedians in it: John Novosad, Sammy Anzer, Salma Zaki. So that was super fun. And so the movie screen, 14 feet wide, it's enormous. It is so big. And once it got dark outside, the projector it looked incredible. It looked so good, and the sound was so loud, and just the it was really cool. So we had 50 people in there, and it was a long night, and I drove all the way back to Denver that night because logistically I had to bring back the movie equipment and then get the comedy club equipment, and not everything fits in my car. And so this is all for Mountain Fresh Comedy Festival that happened this last weekend. So anyways, I got out of the speeding ticket, which was also a potential speeding ticket, and missing the sticker on my license plate. I got taken care of the next morning, and just took no time at all, and had that great interaction with that security guard. I can't say enough about you go through a drive-through or whatever, and you can tell when the person wants to kill themselves or they're just happy to be alive. And I love that. It makes it inspire. I just want to keep saying it out loud because I want to inspire myself to be that positive to people around me. I feel like I am when I'm at comedy shows. I'm like my best self. I am never more bubbly or happy just because it's so, the ones that I run, I feel some pressure to make it good, and it usually is good, and I'm excited, and I want everybody to be in a good mood, and but if I go to I just had to get some blinds repaired, and I definitely was not that person. I have a light switch. I was the other person. I was $132. Are you kidding me? This is outrageous.
It's outrageous. Yeah. Well, fun. I've gotten out a speeding ticket from coming from a show. You know,
Yeah.
I was in French Lick, Indiana.
Okay. Larry Bird
Larry
country.
Bird, yeah, French
Did
Lick,
you do
Indiana.
comedy there?
I did comedy in French Lick.
I want
Yeah,
to. After this, maybe on the Patreon, you can tell
yeah,
me some details about
yeah.
Larry.
It was a fun show, but a lot of these little Indiana towns, you know, are not on the highway, and so you have to take these little 2-lane roads. And there is a thing in especially Indiana, other parts. I've seen it in Kentucky and in Ohio as well, but where you are on these little roads that the speed limit's 55, and then it goes down to 45, and then 35, and then back up 45, 55, and it keeps
Sure.
doing that. I
Yeah.
mean, just again and again and again.
Yeah.
You know, between that and the real highway, the interstate, I mean, we're talking it'll do that 12 times.
Yeah.
So you have to be completely vigilant the whole time.
They're out to
This,
get you.
yeah, this cop. I learned later what they were doing. They might have been doing this to you too, but like they get right behind you and they're like uncomfortably close, and that's how they're getting your speed. Right, because they're matching speed
Ah.
with you. They don't have like a radar gun, but so they this
Okay.
hey, or we're going the
Yeah.
exact same speed, and so he's doing that to me, pulls me over, and I always think when they pull you over late at night like that, they're just checking to see if you're drunk, and have some sort of reason to pull you over. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not drinking. I don't smell like alcohol. It's all good.
Right.
And then so he's like, "Where are you coming from?" I'm like, "I just did a comedy show." He's like, "Oh, okay." And he comes back. He runs my stuff. He's like, "Oh, you said you did a comedy show. Tell me a joke." And so I did. I told him a joke. This is the joke that I told him, which is in my act. It makes more sense in context. But I say, you know, I was a high school teacher, and my last semester was the worst semester because on my way to school, I killed a bunny. Yeah, the one day I walk. That's the joke. And it works in a comedy scene, does not work really with
Right.
just one state trooper
Yeah.
hanging out the door. So there you
You
go.
need to do your seatbelt joke there.
Yeah, I need to do the seatbelt joke.
Yeah, yeah. I got to see you perform.
You
That was
did?
so exciting. Why don't you? I forgot a prop that I need for later in the show.
Okay.
So why don't you start talking about the show we did together this weekend at Mountain
Yeah.
Fresh Comedy Festival? I'll be right back.
Yeah, so we were in Frisco, Colorado, which is a really neat mountain town that is kind of on the rise, I would say. I mean, there are some really kind of posh mountain towns. Vail obviously is way up there. Aspen is way up there. Very, very nice mountain towns. There are some other mountain towns that are like a little bit not as fancy. Idaho Springs is on that end of things. And Frisco is like right there. It's on the upward trend. It's a nice place. And we were at a brewery, it's a brewery at the end of Main Street.
Highside Brewing.
Highside Brewing. Very neat. Main Street in Frisco is super fun. I think it's a city
Real
worth
nice.
visiting. But
Yeah.
my brother owned Hotel Frisco for several years, and my dad was like the manager of Hotel Frisco for several years as well. And one like I was a teacher at the time, and one like spring break, they were like, my dad, "Hey, I want to go on vacation. Do you want to run the hotel for a week?" I was like, "Sure." So I've only spent like 1 week in Frisco before this, but I spent a week in Frisco. My wife and I went up there, and it was fun. So Frisco is a very neat town, and the brewery, the room was very cool. So it was like this back room. When I checked it out earlier in the day, and I walk in, I see the stage. I'm like, "Oh, it's right there." They're like, "Nope, that's not where you guys are. You're in the back room." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I go in the back room, like, this is way better for comedy for sure. And it had a bunch of pinball machines, had a couple of arcade games. I thought this was very clever, and I haven't seen this as often as you should see this. In a room where they do comedy that has pinball machines, they unplug the pinball machines.
Oh yeah, I turned them off. Yeah.
I've seen them like on but quiet. And
Yeah.
then every once in a while they'll make like some like a noise, or they'll be like really
Yeah.
bright. And I mean, they're just attracting attention. But these
Yeah.
were like completely unplugged.
Yeah,
Off.
we turned them all off. There's one that's pretty tricky to turn off. I don't know if you ever turned off pinball machine, but if you go like underneath the case, usually on the front right, there's like a cutout, and you stick your finger up in it, and there's a little switch. And then some more modern ones have like more like rocker switches. But then one of them, the switch is like, it's on the back panel on the side, or like the back side. I couldn't figure it out. And then they have a big buck hunter there that thing has to get unplugged.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, you gotta stage these showrooms.
Yeah.
It's not like we stink at comedy, but comedy needs, it's precious isn't the word I'm looking for. Fragile. It's fragile.
Yeah.
It needs the right environment. It needs to be dark. I'm standing up on stools, unplugging ceiling plugs and turning off. Like, they have a change machine neon sign that brights up the whole room. So I had to unplug that thing. And the TVs all need to be turned off.
Yes. Yeah. And I've been in so many shows. I'm sure you have been in shows where they're like, oh, the comedy's starting? I guess we'll turn off a couple of these, but not all of them. Most of these TVs are still going to be on.
Right.
And it's just,
yeah, that's a good room. That was the first time. The stage used to be on a different wall. So it's the first time we've done a show with that orientation. And the stage used to be 3 times as big.
Yeah.
So it's already a pretty big stage.
It's bigger than it needs to be. But it is
for a band. They have live music there sometimes.
I thought the show went really well. Fun comedians. Got to meet some of the comedians, and
let's shout them out real quick. Bob Coakley from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Vinny Serum from the Bronx, or he might live in Brooklyn actually, but New York City. Vinny Serum, Min Lin from Seattle, Washington, and Chris Sear from St. Louis, Missouri. Were all on that show.
Yeah, they were,
and the headliner, of course, Zack Chapaloni.
Out of LA,
who's very generous with his time after.
Very generous with his time. Interesting fellow. I was totally for it, but you asked him one question and he answered that question for like 40 minutes. Like, it was like one question. He just kept going. Like,
this was a huge year-over-year improvement in Mountain Fresh Comedy Festival. This is only the second year that I've run Mountain Fresh Comedy Festival. Mm-hmm. And it's a kind of unique comedy festival. It's based on a model that I witnessed with Rogue Island Comedy Festival, which Doug Key runs that out in Rhode Island twice a year. And the big difference is that where Vail Comedy Festival is a little more traditional, all the shows are within walking distance of each other. Mountain Fresh, the shows are in completely different towns and zip codes each night. So you're like traveling every night to a different place, which is good and bad. It makes it harder to hang, but it's better in terms of ticket sales because you're in a brand new market and you can do all the same jokes and to basically brand new ears because it's new. It's a different audience every night. And the shows are super hot. Now to get over the hang thing, what I tried to do last year was pitch the comedians that they would get FaceTime with these headliners who have been on TV and in movies, et cetera, and get to learn something about comedy from them. And so I just kind of left it up to the headliners and the comics to make that happen. And it failed miserably. Nobody had the courage to ask the headliners any questions, and the headliners, at least one in particular, kind of hid from the comics because they knew it was an expectation that they were supposed to talk to the comics. So they kind of made themselves unavailable by physical location. So this year I made it a little more structured, and after each show, maybe half an hour after the show, once all the audience people had left, I organized, had everybody sit down together, and in one case stand in a kitchen. And the first night I did not prompt with a question, and it was kind of slow going. But the second night, you're right. I asked Zach, I said, hey, I got to go break down the showroom, but just to get this started, how about you tell everybody how you got into the Comedy Store? Like he's got his name on the wall. He's a paid regular there, et cetera. And so, I guess he answered a very long. I came in about 30 minutes in and heard the last 15 minutes of monologue.
So that was still the same question. But it was good. It was good, and he touched all of these
Tell
different.
it, yeah. Give us a couple nuggets, especially
Yeah,
for me because I didn't get to hear.
yeah. There was a lot that he said that was very good. I mean, obviously, he was saying stuff like work on your own act and make sure that's really tight. He told a little bit about his journey. He started in San Francisco, and then he moved to LA. And he's like, well, he was talking about how there's pros and cons. Sometimes he wakes up, he's like, I wish I would have moved to LA earlier because I would have had a little bit more, connections early on. But starting in San Francisco, I was able to actually develop longer sets and be able to try a little bit. So, he talks to LA guys, and the LA guys like, hey, you're smart having to start in San Francisco. And San Francisco guys, you're like, oh, you should have moved to LA. So it's a whole thing. There's like pros and cons. Here's a couple of the things. One maybe a little controversial, and then one I really like. So I'll let you choose. So he said two things. One I might push back on, and the other I think is a very clever and very interesting. So what do you want?
Let's hear the clever first.
Okay. So he's talking about basically being a fixture in two scenes at the same time, and they're not really even telling the people that you don't live there. So he would be in LA and San Francisco and kind of keep going back and forth. So he was living in San Francisco, but in LA so much that everyone just assumed that he was an LA guy. And one of the guys, Chris Sear, he asked the question about, in his particular context, about St. Louis and Chicago. And Chicago's a close scene. It's a huge scene, of course. And like, how do you navigate that? And the discussion was basically like, yeah, man, do both scenes. And if a booker asks you, do you live in Chicago? Say, yeah, whether or not you do. And I think his particular situation is he like lives in Seattle, or not Seattle, in St. Louis 4 days, and then like Chicago 3 days a week. So
that's really what he wants to do. Both. I think I was there for that. Yeah,
that was very interesting. And so in my context, I kept thinking about that. So because Louisville is smaller scene with all of these different scenes. Now I'm in Cincinnati quite a bit, and Cincinnati doesn't even feel like it's another scene. It feels like just kind of extension,
right?
But
there's definitely something to that, because I feel that way between Denver and the mountains. Like just in this last year, I've really got some momentum. Like I got two big shows this summer from like community groups in the mountains. One in Summit County. They think of me like a local because I'm up there running shows all the time. And they came to a show, and after the show, they were like, hey, can you do this private event for us? And I made a lot of money, and it was great. And they know I live in Denver, but it's like I have Denver, and 100 miles away, I'm in these communities all the time. And a similar thing happened in the Vail area where I got a really big show for a local organization. And it's because I am kind of the local comic up there. There is no scene.
No, I would totally agree. I mean, I think Denver people would assume that you lived in the mountains.
Well, that is actually a problem for me. On the flip side of the coin, I get introduced at shows in Denver. He came all the way down from Vail, and I'm like, I drove 6 minutes to be here, you goofball. Like, and I hate that too, because people don't like Vail. So it like, I actually tell people now, please don't say I'm from Vail. I've been doing that for like a year and a half. I live in Denver. Half the time I tell that to the host, they'll be like, you live in Denver?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
So you're a good example of that, then, of being kind of in two scenes.
Well, but I'm barely in the second scene. Up in the mountains, I'm there at the most 5 nights a month. So I'm barely there. But for them, that's like infinity, because there is no other comedy really up there.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if 5 nights is on the high end, but 5 nights a month seems like a lot per month. I mean, I'm trying to internalize this.
Well, how many nights a month are you in Cincinnati?
Last month was probably 3.
Oh, okay. And how long a drive is that?
It's
without traffic.
Without traffic, 90 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, that's the same as the mountains.
Yeah, there's this one little thing that always goes wrong. It seems like
Yeah.
there's a one bridge that just
Yeah.
it just pull your hair out, and then it's 2 hours. But I was thinking about it in terms of Nashville, because I think if I was physically in Nashville 5 nights a month, I would start to be thought of as a Nashville guy. People would be like, "Oh, well, he's here a lot."
Yeah.
That's that's interesting. I wonder where
Yeah.
that.
Well, let me take this to another extreme.
Yeah.
I believe in this idea of secondary markets. So I live in Denver, but I travel.
Yep.
And so every year I make it a point to get to San Francisco, no matter what. And I do the same thing in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. Chicago used to be one of my secondary markets, and then I lost a free place to stay and because somebody moved. And so I don't go there as much, but I actually have been going about once a year. But Chicago's harder. It seems much bigger. That'd be like going to New York City. Nobody's going to notice if you go to New York City 5 nights a year. But I'm going to San Francisco soon. And I might have talked about this on the last pod. I booked an entire week of shows in like an hour because I've been through every year for the last like 5 years. I just go every single year. And so I'm not going 5 nights a month, but I'm going 5 nights a year.
Yeah.
And there's some value there. I mean, instead of San Francisco, I could go to Seattle, or I could go to Louisville or Nashville and pick a different city every year. But I think there's a benefit to going back year after year after year. And it definitely helps to be an out-of-towner.
Yeah.
You know, it's easier to get on shows.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, like, hey, I'm in town. That really works. It's a thing that, and I don't know if you've ever done this, where you're like, I'm in town these days, and you're really not.
Yeah, kind of.
I could be like the Nashville, you know, is only 3 hours away. So if I say I'm gonna be in town, it's really like it's not that far. It's not that far. So I can be there, no problem.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference between saying I could be in your area these dates, or hey, I already have a place to stay. I'm already going to be there. You know, it sends a slightly different message.
Yeah, it sends a different message, and it does. There's
less pressure on the booker. Like the booker isn't making an anchor gig for you. They're just like, oh yeah, I can throw him a guest spot. Maybe somebody drops out, he gets a feature spot. You know, I don't have to pay him a ton of money. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So that was the clever thing about.
It's a clever thing that I really, really liked.
And so before we move on, I want to talk about this Nashville thing a little bit more.
Yeah.
That would be your preferred.
I think so. I've thought about it. So I at one time was really had my eyes set on Indianapolis, because Indianapolis is right at 2 hours away.
Is that bigger than Louisville as a comedy market?
That's a good question. It's bigger in Louisville than Louisville in a city, but the comedy maybe not. I mean, it used to have 2 clubs, and then one of the clubs shut down, and I got a lot of work at one of those clubs, but I basically got 0 work at the other club. And
which one shut down?
Crackers shut down.
The one that you worked at, or the
one that I worked at? Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah. Crackers shut down, and Helium, I could not get in the door. I did a couple of things here and there that were like decent-ish, and I just and so last time I went, it wasn't a fun experience. Like I went for the club open mic, and it just I don't know. Sometimes they just give you a bad vibe, and you're like, that's not really worth my time. I don't know what.
So I think based on Zach's other comment, which was you should always be striving towards a bigger scene until you're in until you're in New York or LA, basically. And there's a lot more behind that. But I would think that Nashville would make more sense for you.
I think it would, because of clean stuff, because of like just personality. I think it fits.
And there's just so much going on there. I mean, arguably that's like a top 5 comedy city right now.
Yeah, it's a big.
So how could you sublet a couch or something, or would you have to constantly commute? Like, how long a drive is that?
So Nashville's so big that you could be in Nashville and it's 2.5 hours away, or you could be in Nashville and it's 3:15 away. So because it's just a big city.
Right. But how far is it from Louisville?
About 3 hours. I think of it as 3 hours.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to day trip.
Well, I've done it. I've done it many times.
Sure. Sure. It can be done. We did it to Aspen when
we
the
did
3-hour drive turned into 9 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's not ideal for
it's
doing
not
5 days a month. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, 5 days a month doesn't seem bad. So like
Okay.
this month already, I've been to Nashville once.
Okay.
And so I've gotten booked in Nashville many times, and I know a lot of people. Plus, you know, one of my best friends from high school, guy who was
There you
a
go.
groomsman in my wedding.
This is coming together.
He lives in Nashville. I have an aunt, an uncle, and 2 cousins and their families that live in Nashville. So
There
it's
you
like
go.
Nashville.
So if you can make it like a 1-2-night visit and another 3-night visit,
Yep.
then it's only 2 times driving around
That's
trip
right.
to Nashville a month. I
I
think that's a neat idea.
think
You know, it is interesting. I will say here's a counterpoint.
Yeah.
As a showrunner,
Yeah.
and I'm not really a showrunner in this sense. Like I talk to other showrunners and they're getting harassed all the time by hundreds of comics who want spots.
Yep.
And somehow I'm like a ghost. People can't figure out how to contact me.
Yeah.
And I don't get bothered really very much. But I have noticed, and I know these other people definitely notice this, that there are comics who abuse the privilege of being an out-of-town comedian. Meaning they come into Denver and they get booked on all kinds of stuff. They get a great paying gig. They have a lot of fun and they're back like 6 weeks later. And then they come back again like 2 months later. And it's like, look, dude, it works once, but you can't be here all the time looking for scraps or whatever.
Yeah.
So I have definitely seen that extreme where people get kind of, and that's more at like a headliner level. Not that you're not at a headliner level, but it seems like there's just not that many top of the billing opportunities to be able to come back 5 nights a month, every single month.
Yeah.
I think at our level where you're trying to, you know, feature or middle or even host or get a guest set, or maybe one of those 5 nights is just an open mic or like a booked open mic or something like that. I think that strategy does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I like the plan. I could even trade
housing.
What?
Housing or something
housing
else?
Yeah, I was thinking trade housing. Like if somebody wanted to do the same thing in Louisville, I've got a guest room, and you know.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting. I've thought about trying to strike up a relationship with a New York City comedian before. I've even started conversations about this where I could basically rent their room when they're on the road.
Yeah.
And potentially trade them Denver space.
Yep.
Yeah, because I would like to. Your Nashville would be my New York City. I'd like to fly to New York City. Like 5 nights a month would be amazing. I would love to do that. I don't know how to do it really, and I know it would be so depressing relative your experience in Nashville. Those 5 nights, probably 3 nights, you'd get booked on shows.
Oh, sure.
I would for years be 0 out of 5 nights booked on shows. I would be paying to go to open mics. You know, and hanging out and meeting people, and it would be a tough road to hoe. I mean, I could get on shows. I've gotten on shows in New York City, but they're not even worth getting on. It's like I might as well do my jokes to you right here on this podcast.
That's right.
Which we often do in the Patreon, everybody. We've been shopping a lot of jokes in the Patreon, which now has a podcast option. We used to be video only, but now you can listen to all episodes of the Patreon, which is at patreon.com/Mark and Jake.
Sweet.
Okay, so tell us the second Zack.
So he said this, and I thought it was a little, which was, you don't want to be the funniest person in your scene.
Okay, I was worried that was what I kind of hinted at that. I stepped on it a little bit. I was worried that might be the thing. I heard that one too. You got to, in your head, think of something from the first half that I missed.
Oh, okay.
And I'll talk about this a little bit. So yeah, Zack basically said you don't want to be the funniest person in your scene, you know, unless you got like family stuff going on and you're not, Your number one goal isn't to become Nate Bargatze and somebody super famous selling out arenas. If you're trying to make this a full-time living and be as big as you possibly can be, you have to constantly be moving to larger markets. And he was very afraid to do that. He was like the king of San Francisco, and people were giving him advice to move to LA, and he was like, I don't know if I should do this. And then he did it, and it worked out really well for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought about you as he was saying that.
Yeah.
You know, last episode, you were like, I was funniest to Louisville 4 years in a row.
Yeah, I know. That's right. I mean, there's a certain point where that gets maybe a little bit sad. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that advice is a little dated. I think 10, 20 years ago, that was way more common wisdom in stand-up comedy in the profession. Nowadays, you have people like Greg Warren. He lives in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
You know, he's a regular at the Comedy Cellar. When he goes to the Comedy Cellar, or when he goes to New York City, he performs at the Comedy Cellar. You know, he's doing just fine. He's touring around. He's doing great stuff. There are other comics who live in, I forget the guy's, there's a guy who runs some history-related podcast, maybe Dan something, and he lives in like Boise, Idaho, or Bozeman, Montana. And he's like famous. He like sells out Comedy Works because he's got this huge podcast audience. And the point is, these days, your online presence is almost as important as your in-person presence for a lot of comics. You know, I buck that trend, but who knows if I'm doing it right.
Yeah. No, that's kind of what I thought. So I had two thoughts when he said that, because there is this weird phenomenon in the Midwest, or in like where the South meets the Midwest, which is right where I live, where franchises that have been started there become national or international, just huge, and franchises that start elsewhere kind of stay regional. And there's something about it. I read, I think it was either a podcast, might have been in a marketing book or something, like here is almost like this is the middle of the road of America. If you want normal people to like your stuff, you have to make it here.
Yeah.
And like Papa John's, KFC, Texas Roadhouse is actually based in Louisville, Kentucky. People don't know that. But all of these different things are
KFC isn't from the South.
KFC is from
Kentucky.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah. So it started in Corbin. I know the whole history.
It started in Utah.
What?
There's something in Utah, in Salt Lake City, like maybe the first ever franchised KFC.
Maybe the first ever restaurant is in Corbin, Kentucky. Colonel Sanders is an absolute insane man.
That's a real person?
Colonel Sanders is a real guy. He's buried like a few hundred yards from Muhammad Ali. Yeah, there's this really cool cemetery it's weird to say that I like cemeteries, but I like cemeteries. And there's a really cool cemetery called Cave Hill Cemetery in Louisville where, and if you go in, there's this yellow painted line that will take you all the way to Colonel Sanders. And there's this green painted line that will take you all the way to Muhammad Ali.
Huh. Wild. Have you been to New Orleans ever?
I have. Yeah.
Great cemeteries in New Orleans.
Yeah. They had, theirs are above ground in a really bizarre looking thing. Yeah. But also Boston has really good cemeteries. I saw John Hancock, a few other people there, but I'm a cemetery.
Saw the grave site of John Hancock.
Yeah.
You didn't like dig up John.
No, I didn't see him face to face or whatever. But so I think there's something about being Midwest where I feel like I can work anywhere because and that, I mean,
that's a cool idea.
It's a different idea. Yeah. With just normal America.
But again, let's zero in on zoom in on that idea. Papa John's, KFC, they're successful because they are all over the place, including big cities now. They start their origin stories in Midwest, but they spider out.
That's right.
Should Big Jake spider out from the Midwest?
But the other thing, so I heard this. Brian Bates, who is one of Nate Bargatze's buddies, he's on the Nate Land podcast.
Okay.
Someone asked him, if you were going to start today, what would you do? Like, if you knowing what you know now, what would you do? And he said, I would move to a cheap Midwest city like Louisville. He actually said that, like Louisville, and then get on the road as quick as I could.
Yeah.
And Dusty Slay has said something similar. He's like, hey, I can move to New York City and work my way up and then get good enough to now go on the road in the Midwest, or start in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's kind of more of my, so when he says, don't be the funniest person in your scene, when Zach says that, I'm like, okay, but Nate Bargatze is 100% the best comedian in his scene. Now, you might say, well, he started in Chicago and then he went to New York City, and that's what
Nate's
really
an exception, though. You got to take him out of the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, he could live anywhere he wanted at this point.
Yeah, at this point,
that's why he lives in Nashville. I'm sure.
Yeah, at this point, he could do anywhere.
Yeah.
But I've heard of a lot of those regional headliner guys that go into not necessarily the A clubs, but working comedians live in places like that. I've got buddies who spend, I want to say he's like in on a cruise ship like 40 weeks a year, like an insane amount of cruise ships. Like that's his job. He's the cruise ship comedian, and lives in Indianapolis. So
yeah, when you're a cruise ship comedian, it doesn't really matter where you live. Like, you almost don't even need an apartment.
Exactly. Right.
Because you're not using it at all.
No.
That's why. So do you remember anything from Zach's earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
He talked a lot more specifically about the Comedy Store.
Okay.
And he said he was talking about how the culture of the Comedy Store has changed. How at the beginning, when he's kind of started, the door guys, which I pieced together what he meant by door guys. Do you already know what a door guy is?
I mean, specifically at the Comedy Store, yes, I do.
I don't. I didn't know what he meant, because I thought, oh, that's security guard. When he says door guy, I hear
sometimes they're out front, and Hollywood Boulevard is.
But apparently they do help seat people.
Yeah, and
they also are like the first comedian.
Yeah, they get stage time.
Yeah.
And are also cleaning up vomit, and they're doing everything. They're a jack of all trades. They're a low level comedy club employee.
Yeah.
So just imagine what any grunt worker at a comedy club would deal with. Running food. Anything they can do to help. But in addition, what's special about the Comedy Store is the door guy is like part of the ladder to move up. Comedy Works isn't like that. Some of the staff do comedy. And sometimes comedians will go work at Comedy Works, but it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's frowned upon, but it's not a way to move up the ladder. But at the Comedy Store, it is.
Yeah. So that part I didn't, because I've worked at a comedy club, and so I'm having an idea of what goes on, but it wasn't part. They weren't like, hey, get on stage sometimes. That wasn't part of it.
Yeah, it's more like, remember Alon, the episode 10 when Alon Altman was on, he was talking about working at a comedy club and how that by working there, he got stage time and he got to be part of this late night program. And so, but it's even more formal at the Comedy Store. Like, they don't hire, it's almost like a credit to be hired as a door guy.
That's what,
which by the way, there are women who are door guys as well. And I do think they might refer to themselves as door guys. I'm not sure. Door person? I don't know.
Yeah, door person. The thing that he was saying was the door guys used to be really mean. If you're new and you're coming up, they're not rooting for you. They're rooting against you. There's antagonism there. Yeah. And they want you to fail. And then you watch them on stage. This is according to Zach. You watch them on stage and they're not that much better than you, or they're not better than you at all. And so there was a weird, he said this. I thought this was funny. He says about these door guys, like, you're not funny enough to be this mean. Like, if you're really, really funny, if you're killing it on stage, then you're allowed to be a little bit mean, according to Zach. But like, these guys are not. And so he says in the last few years, that has really shifted. that the ethos, the sensibilities,
Culture.
whatever, culture of the door guys is a lot more accepting. And whenever one leaves, the new one that they replace him with is obviously funny, professional, all of those things, but also an encouraging, positive person instead of just like this, curmudgeon. So he's saying that has really changed.
Nice.
Which is good. He also was one of the first things he said, which you might not have even heard it. One of the first things he said was, if you guys ever come to LA, I'll get you some time, which is very generous of him.
There you go. Mountain Fresh Comedy Festival, delivering on dreams to comics. Apply at mfcomedy.com next 4th of July. I think that's when I open up submissions every 4th of July.
Is that when this podcast comes out?
No, October 27th. I forgot to look it up, but I snuck a peek. That's so funny. Right before we started recording, I was like, all right, Jake, I have to remember to look up when this podcast comes out. And I just started the podcast without looking it up. Incredible. So that Frisco show was a banger.
It was a banger. Yeah, it was a lot of
people
fun.
there. It was packed. You had a great set. It was really fun watching you. I probably haven't seen you perform in 4 years.
Yeah,
it's been a long time, and you were very your stage presence was great. You were very comfortable. Your word economy was exceptional.
Yeah. I am proud of that. That's something that I think I am good at. Is word economy. I have a quick story about that. So the first World Series,
better be quick. Use your word economy.
The first World Series of comedy event I did was at Looney's. So I was living in Denver. It was in Colorado Springs.
Me too.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
As this was years ago, and as part of like the package deal to go to World Series of Comedy, they will review your tape.
Yeah, it's great. That's the number one best thing. People love to crap on the World Series of Comedy, and honestly, that's fallen off a little bit. Jason Rowland was the king of giving great feedback. And I should mention, if anybody watching this wants to become a better comedian and wants to become a better writer, you can pay Jason to take a class with him. I don't know. I think it's expensive. I personally think it's silly to pay somebody else to teach you how to do comedy. But if you're looking for that, Jason, there can't be anybody much better than him in the whole world. He lives in Canada, but he'll get on Zoom with you. Jason Rowland, I don't know, comedyfeedback.com or something.
Comedy feedback. Yeah.
Anyways, he's the best, and he's got like visa problems, so he doesn't come to the US anymore. And that's really been, I think, a loss for the World Series.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a very nice guy, and gives great feedback. I actually did that course, the course that you.
Oh, really?
I did. I did that course.
Was it worth it? Let's talk about it in Patreon. Okay. Everybody, check out the Patreon. We're going to talk. I'm going to write that down. We're going to talk about comedyfeedback.com. We're going to give some feedback to comedyfeedback.com.
Fun. Well, so my first World Series comedy event was at Looney's. I'm way too early. I am probably 9 months in, and the feedback that I got was about word economy. Was like it might not have been. I don't think it was Jason, because I got like 3 different people, and Jason's was really detailed, and I think this was somebody else's. And the person said, "You might be the only person that I would ever say you might need to add a few more words to your jokes. You have cut them so short," which is the opposite of every other person. Everybody else has really fat jokes, and you have like really, really thin, like, word economy. And I took that as a badge of honor. I liked it. And absolutely. I am the
king of word economy.
Keep moving on.
So. Unreal. So let me ask you a question. That Frisco show was very hot. Yep. Everything was working. Was there a joke that didn't go the way you wanted? Maybe it was too big city or whatever the reason. Yeah,
there was a couple of jokes where they tightened, which I didn't expect. I don't usually get tightened.
The edgy comic, Big Jake Hovis.
Yes. Yeah. There was a little bit. I mean, it's not that edgy, but it was a.
Was it the something around religion, like a pastor? I forget the. I think we
Yeah,
talked
I
about
do
this
that one.
joke.
I don't remember them tightening there. They might have.
Yeah.
But I remember them tightening when I said I was talking about my dogs. I have wiener dogs. I have little dachshunds, and I was talking about how I have prescription dog food, and I'm like, is this necessary? They're a very unnatural shape. You know how much inbreeding you have to do to get a wolf to look like a hot dog?
Yeah.
And I was surprised that they had a prescription to cure inbreeding, but I live in Kentucky. And like that, what they tightened up a little bit of like inbreeding being compared to Kentucky, you know, like they're like, oh, okay. They didn't love that. And then
Was it clear that you were from Kentucky?
I think so. I'm pretty sure
I wonder if
Chris
that's a way to road proof that joke. If like right before that joke, you mentioned, or sometime in the couple of minutes before, you just casually drop, I live in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Or maybe even say you're from Kentucky, because that's even better. Because you're not from Kentucky,
I'm not.
so you could potentially be punching down on Kentucky.
Yeah. No, I grew up in Denver, but I've been in Kentucky for a while, and I like Kentucky, man.
Yeah,
it's a good place. But the other one was my first mention of 9/11.
Oh, I missed that.
That they were tighter than usual on that one, and I was thinking the whole. I mean, I kept doing my jokes, whatever. But my thought was, oh, because my last sentence is a callback to it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm driving. I know where I'm going. I wonder if that's gonna work. And it did. It worked really well. The callback worked way better than the first one.
Nice.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can watch it. I talked about these postcards that I sent out, and I can't point to them, but you can see them. They're green. There's one half. You can see like the postal customer little thing, and the other side has Jenny Zigrino's face. Nice. So fun working with Jenny. We did a show in a barber shop last night. It's actually a salon. I don't know really the difference. They have barber chair. It doesn't have a pole, out front, but it has the barber chairs and all that stuff. And it was kind of cool. It was really fun. I run a lot of shows, and honestly, it was a pain in the ass because I had to drive over chairs, load in the chairs, set up the chairs, and then I had to get them all out as well. But it looked really neat. It looked like one of those classic don't tell shows that's in a like weird, unique place.
Yep.
And it was super fun. And Jenny, to her credit, she did 40 minutes of brand new material.
Wow.
And she told everybody up front, like, hey, this won't be good, and I'm going to do 40 minutes I'm going to do 30. She said she was going to do 30. She ended up doing 40 of all new jokes. Wow. And I saw her do an hour the night before, and they were all different. Unbelievable. Really like next level. This is a fun thing for me to be around comedians that are so much better than me, to really learn from them. And Jenny was awesome. Like just.
Now, did she? So I've seen some comedians do something similar. Sometimes they don't tell the audience. Sometimes, like I was working with a guy, and I just knew, because I was in the backstage. But he was using notes. Was she using notes?
Yeah, she would go to her phone every once in a while. She even at one point said, "I'll take feedback." If you have feedback, and this was like maybe the second joke second premise, whatever chunk, bit, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And she actually asked a lady, like, so what was your favorite part of that joke? And the lady said it, but it never turned into that kind of, from that point forward, people didn't really give feedback.
Yeah.
But I was kind of expecting it to turn into almost a workshop.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I haven't sent the survey out yet, but I expect to get very positive survey results. Everybody was thrilled.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great show. We had Steve Gillespie. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a Comedy Works headliner, been on Conan, so funny. And so it was a treat to have, he just did 20, 25 minutes in the middle of the show. And so it was a very good show for the people who were there. But
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. New fun venue in Denver area. Hard to sell tickets in Denver though, man, it's tough.
Yeah.
All right. This is a totally new topic. I made a dirty Dr. Pepper the other day. Listen to this. you were talking about mixology last week. Here's some non-alcoholic mixology for you.
Yeah.
You take some maple syrup, some heavy whipping cream, shavings of nutmeg, and Dr. Pepper.
Wow.
That's the beverage. As you would imagine, freaking delicious.
Absolutely.
What is not to be delicious about this?
Do you know the place called Sip?
No, but there's Soda Barn. Have I talked about this on
No,
here?
I haven't heard of Soda Barn.
I did a road trip up to Idaho. It's like
yeah.
I think somebody was saying it's a Mormon chain up in Idaho. They only sell soda, and they had like a line around the block.
Yeah.
It's like a Starbucks that only does soda.
So
is that what Sip is?
That's exactly what it was. It was I was in Chattanooga, and there was this place. I think it's called Sip.
Okay.
And it only do soda, and they had most of them were Dr. Pepper like based things, and the Dr. Pepper plus these.
How can we make this soda less healthy?
Yes.
Let's add some heavy whipping cream.
Yeah, and some
so it was a little nutmeg on it, so you can feel gourmet.
Because I was looking in the window, and they're making the soda. It's just a huge fountain thing. Yeah. But they had a bunch of those little like coffee flavor pop,
Yes, same thing at the Soda Barn. And by a bunch, I mean like 100.
Yes,
I had no idea they had so many flavors. Those Italian soda, they got like vanilla and probably nutmeg and
probably nutmeg.
Who knows what else? Yep. Pepperoni. They had a million flavors.
Yeah, so I've only gone there once, but I was like, that's good. That's some good stuff. It does elevate the Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I would definitely go back.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't drink a lot of soda, and when I do, I feel unhealthy. And if you can make it even less healthy, if I'm gonna,
if we're doing it, then let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go full. Yeah, put the pedal to the metal, baby. Red light, go. I did want to mention that last week on the Patreon, last week in the regular episode, I said that I would discuss my pay that's coming up in Everett, Washington. And I forgot to do it on the Patreon. So I'm re-teasing it this week on the Patreon. We're going to talk about the pay in Everett, Washington.
Yeah. Well, I got I can tease this one. Okay. I got a lead for a show in Murray, Kentucky.
Okay.
Fun town. They told me how much it was. And I was booked that same day already in Louisville for the exact same amount. So it was, I mean, I'm already booked, so there's no
you can't do it.
But it was that thing of, like,
yeah, it's a bummer.
It's the exact same amount, man.
What are you teasing? Are you teasing that you're going to tell me the amount?
I'll tell you the amount, because it wasn't. Cool. It was not nothing.
Yeah, sure.
It was also a little on the low side.
Oh, okay.
Lower than I would want it to be. When I took the first gig, the Louisville one, they were like
the weekend night.
Yeah, I think it was a Saturday. I think it's a Saturday night. I took the Louisville one. I talked to my wife, and she's like, "Yeah, I might as well. It's for a good cause. It's a fundraiser or whatever." And this other one, the one in Murray, not a fundraiser, just a comedy show. So different people pay different. So
cool. I want to shout out this guy. I sent you a screenshot of that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's see if I can find his name real quick. Where is his name? Okay, I'm going to read this email that I got from John D. Mark, I got your audiobook through the Hoopla app from my library in San Jose, California. I posted a review on Goodreads. I was the 4th reviewer. The other 3 posted 5 years ago. I love the book. Therefore, I sought out your podcast and listened to 3 episodes. I don't know which podcast he means. It might be this podcast. If so, if you're listening right now, hi, John. Actually, continuing the email. Actually, I don't have aspirations of being a comic. For some reason, I just like to hear details of what people go through to make it in the arts. You seem to have made some good headway. Good luck with it. You seem to have made some headway. Good luck with it, John D. I'll omit his last name since I don't have permission. But pretty wild that, a book I wrote 5 years ago, out of the blue, somebody sent me that nice note. So thank you, John. You're the best. I also want to say that we did a show in Gypsum, Colorado this week. Super fun, part of Mountain Fresh Comedy Festival. 85 people there. Thanks for coming out, Gypsum. Sold out. And we had a minor celebrity there. You grew up in Denver, right?
I did.
Do you know who Tom Green is? Not the comedian. 9
Oh,
News.
yes, yeah.
You would recognize his face, whether you know
Yes.
his name or not. He was on the air for 43 years.
Yeah.
He retired in the last couple of years, moved up to the mountains, and he came out. It was awesome. He knew Adam Caton Holland, and Adam knew him. And there was another newscaster there as well. It was hilarious. So that was kind of fun. He's in the you can see him blurry in one of the pictures I posted online.
Wow.
He's in the background. If you're a Denver head, that's kind of fun. All right, we got to wind this down. Let's do dates. This is coming out October 27th. Hot off the presses.
Wow, look at that.
Tour poster. Mark Masters, 5 states, Never Say Die tour. I'm doing 18 nights, 18 shows, but breaking news, I'm adding a 19th. I'm missing 2 nights. If you look at this long list of dates and cities,
that's fantastic.
There's a Tuesday and a Sunday that is not in here. The Sunday I'm adding Kipswich something county up near Seattle. I still don't have anything for that Tuesday. But anyway, so October 27th, when this comes out, tonight I'm in Everett, Washington. And I'm going to tell you how much I'm getting paid. It's an open mic. I'm the featured comedian. I'm being paid to be at an open mic. I don't know if that, hopefully that means I go early. I hope that doesn't mean I headline the open mic. That would suck. It wouldn't suck. I love you, Everett. I'm excited. That Tuesday, I don't have anything. So if anybody has a gig for me, October 28th, I'll take it. Seattle, Washington, October 29th. This isn't very helpful. I don't know where. You go to markmasters.co and you'll be able to see exactly where I am that Wednesday. I think I'm at Laughs Comedy Club. Pretty sure, but double check on the website. October 30th, Tacoma, Washington. I'm at the Tacoma Comedy Club. That's one of those, what is it, brick chains? Bar. Yeah. Thank you. October 31st, I'm in Medford, Oregon. That's at the sports bar in the hotel. The 31st and November 1st. So that's Halloween and the next night. And I want to sell tickets to that because I'm headlining those shows. And then November 2nd, I'm in Sunnyvale, California at Rooster Tea Feathers, featuring for Eddie Ift. Buy tickets for that. And then I'm in San Francisco and Oakland the next week. And then I go down to San Diego, do some shows. Anyways, Never Say Die Tour 2025. Come check me out. Do you recognize this rock outcropping? Where is it? Right there.
No, I don't.
No, it's I'm gonna have to look it up for next time. It's part of the Goonies. When the pirate ship goes out at the end, it's at Cannon Beach, maybe in Astoria, Oregon. It's gorgeous. It's so cool. It's right off the coast. So come check me out, everybody. I'll be in Utah, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and California. Where are you gonna be, Jake?
Oh, not there. A couple of those dates I've got open, and then I've got several. I'm featuring at the Caravan, and I've got a corporate gig, here and there. And I'm going to Oklahoma City. That's exciting. In mid November, Oklahoma City, November.
Okay, 15th. And you cannot get those tour dates on Jake's website, by the way. So just send him a DM.
Yeah, send me a DM, and we'll work out.
Okay, we're gonna roll over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Mark and Jake. If you want to book me for anything, if you want to book me to make dirty Dr. Peppers for you and tell clean jokes or dirty jokes, I don't care. Markmasters.co. Couldn't afford the M for the .com. CO like Colorado. There's a contact form there. I'll get right back to you. Just like John D. I sent him a thank you right back to him this morning. How about you, Big Jake?
Yeah, it's bigjakecomedy.com. Book me for anything you'd like, and I'll bring my own soda. So
okay, we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.